One of our newer sponsors here at the Shameless Picture Show is Kino Lorber. With a library of over 4,000 titles, Kino Lorber Incorporated has been a leader in independent art house distribution for 35 years, including 30 films per year theatrically under its Kino Lorber, Kino Repertory, and Alive Mind Cinema banners, garnering 7 Academy Award nominations in 9 years. In addition, the company brings over 350 titles yearly to the home entertainment and educational markets through physical and digital media releases. With the expanding family of distributed labels, Kino Lorber handles releases in ancillary media for Zeitgeist Films, Milestone Films, Cohen Media Group, Greenwich Entertainment, Artsploitation, Palisades Tartan, Raro Video, and others, placing physical titles through all wholesale, retail, and direct-to-consumer channels, as well as direct digital distribution through over 40 OTT services, including all major TVOD and SVOD platforms. If you'd like more information on Kino Lorber and all the great titles they're putting out, be sure to check them out at www.kinolorber.com. That's KINOLORBER.com. KinoLorber.com.
Warning! This movie podcast actually discusses movies. Be aware that it may discuss any of the following elements: endings, surprise twists, unexpected cameos, and all manner of spoilers. If this doesn't appeal to you, then why listen to a movie podcast? Without further ado, please enjoy our feature presentation, The Shameless Picture Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. I'm your host, Michael Vyers, and today we're thrilled to be joined by a very special guest, Lynne Fraser. Lynne brings with her 11 years of experience in television and over 20 years in production, having worked as a producer, director, copywriter, and more. She's also the executive producer and director of Ski Team, a video production company based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, how did Lynne end up on this show today? Well, last month, during the Milwaukee Film Festival, Susan Kearns approached me with an idea. She asked if I'd be interested in participating in Milwaukee Film's silent auction by offering up a guest spot on this very podcast. I agreed, and Lynne, you were the lucky winner. How are you doing today, Lynne?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. I'm really excited to be on your pod.
I was really worried that no one was going to bid on it.
You did not need to have that worry with me. So yes, I have, is it a gene or just an inclination when it comes to like gambling or like risk taking?
Okay.
So like I've only gone to Potawatomi, the casino here in Milwaukee, one time. And I was like, get me out of here. I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to start mortgaging my house. Like I love that, like, I don't know, like the winning aspect of it. And I feel like maybe I'm overly optimistic and I think I'm a really lucky person. I have no idea. So anyway, Susan Kearns, bless her, love her. She's one of the first people I met when I moved to Milwaukee. She runs a woman in film kind of club called Film Furies. So I went to some of those meetings, met her. She's awesome. And then was really pumped when she became the new head of Milwaukee Film. And so she had sent around an email to her contacts about the silent auction. And so she's like, how about the Film Fest? Come to some shows. Maybe bid on something in the silent auction. And I'm like, silent auction? And so I went in.
It appealed to you.
Oh, my gosh. And, like, this is coming off of, I think, my second silent auction in, like, a month. But something just comes over me. So I'm looking at all the silent auction items, and I'm like, gosh, this is all really great. Gosh, this is all, like, very affordable. And like I basically went through, bid on everything that I felt like bidding on, which was probably like 12 things. And then I get done and I'm like, oh, if I win everything, I'm going to be in trouble. Because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, because I guess you only get charged if you win.
Well, right. And then I had a panic attack of like, what if I win all of this? I mean, it would have been in like the thousands of dollars. But so I slowly but surely like watched and got notifications as people were outbidding me. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. I mean, I think I bid like $1,000 to like rent the Oriental to like watch a movie because I'm like, gosh, that would be so amazing to have a party at the Oriental and like watch a movie with all my friends. But it's $1,000.
But it's also like, that's not that bad.
That's what the problem is. Each of those things individually, not that bad.
But when you add them all
when you
up.
have 12 of them.
Yes.
It becomes bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that to say, I was getting outbid. But then there was 2 different podcasts. And I do love a podcast. I love listening to them. I think I've participated in one previously. But I was holding out hope for the podcasts. And then there was the one...
I think the other was Cinebuds.
Yes. With Milwaukee Radio, which got out of hand quickly.
Oh, yes. I looked at it. I remember, like, I was so thrilled when I saw anyone bid on mine. And I was like, oh, let's see how Cinebuds is doing. And I think, like, they were one of the highest.
Yeah, it got crazy.
People want to be on Cinebuds more than they want to rent out the Oriental.
Yes. In the words of Anchorman, it escalated quickly. Is that the line?
Yes, it is. Yeah, and it was like there's a lot of great stuff on there. Like I was eyeing up the like you can get like your name engraved on one of the seats.
I looked at that too, and I'm like, Lynn, calm down. Did you see all the amazing artwork? All of those those prints of the trees.
My wife was obsessed with the artwork this year,
Yeah.
so she was really looking up that. I liked the popcorn bowl that Susan's dad made.
How cute was that?
That was adorable. I loved that.
But then I thought maybe I would have like an inside avenue for that if I really wanted it. Like I could go to Susan and be like, hey, can your dad hook me up? And maybe that would happen because I'm kind of friends with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't bid on that one. But I was very pumped to see that the opportunity for this podcast remained and I was the winning bid. And I don't have to mortgage my house.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We are a very, very affordable podcast to be part of. I call this the Working Men's Podcast because... It's just been me balling on a budget on this thing for a long time. Like I said to you, off mic, I used to do this on a Rock Band mic.
Yeah, I know. That's incredible.
And a bent wire hanger that I would stick underneath my laptop so it wouldn't go anywhere because it connected via USB. So I knew I thought no matter what, I can get audio through here. And then I learned enough from UWM to like I can clean this up a little bit. My early episodes sound terrible. Let me tell you.
But I love the spirit and the it's not necessarily entrepreneurship. What would it be? The motivation to make it happen. Like just use a Rock Band video game mic.
Yeah, and that's what like, I have because people ask me quite often. It's like, well, how do I get started podcasting? Just record something.
Figure it out, man. I used a coat hanger and a video game.
Yeah, and like you can't judge yourself based on like the big guys like Mark Maron. Like he's been doing that for 16 years, and 2, he's got money.
Yeah, dude.
Like I didn't, but I knew because that was the whole thing. It's like, okay, I can go out and buy like a USB mic for like $70, but I didn't have $70.
Right.
But I did have a copy of Rock Band on the PS2. So it was a PS2 microphone, and that wasn't even around anymore.
That's back in the day. And look at you now. Look at this setup.
Yeah.
This is impressive.
Thank you.
I'm impressed with these mics and your little I don't even know what
mixing
is that.
board.
Mixing board.
Yeah.
It's cool. It looks like you could also DJ with that, maybe.
If I knew how to DJ, I probably could.
Mm.
And it all fits in a backpack. Like that backpack I came in, this was all in the back. The only thing that didn't fit were these headphones. But I had to walk into work today with 2 backpacks, and I just felt like really weird about it.
But it's impressive. It seems very profesh. You've come a long way.
Thank you. So, Lynn, we've never met before. This is our first time talking. I've been familiar with Independent Edit because actually when I met Susan. This is the We Love Susan Kearns podcast.
It is, truly. And if you haven't met her, you would love her as well.
Yes, and she's been on this show 3 times now, and
Is she?
yeah, and every episode she comes on is better than the last. But I met Susan because she produced a film that we made together. Back when Milwaukee Film used to do a thing called collaborative cinema.
Mm-hmm.
I was the last collaborative cinema film, and Independent Edit was the editing team that was working on it back at their old location. So I was there all the time. But like I said, I've been out of the loop a little bit. So tell me about Ski Team. That's your thing, right?
Yeah,
Ski
so
Team.
that's
Tell me
my
a little bit about it.
company, Ski Team. Ski Team was born of necessity, coming out of COVID. So my backstory: I worked in TV for a long time. My first job out of college I went to school at UW-Madison. My first job coming out of Madison, I was an NBC page in New York. So if you ever watched...
What is an NBC page?
Did you ever watch 30 Rock, the Tina Fey show?
I have seen it, but I
Okay.
didn't really watch it.
So that show launched when I was actually in New York as a page, and one of the characters is a page. His name was Kenneth the Page.
Okay.
And so they're just these like hopeful young people who like want to work in television. It's sort of like an internship, but they pay you like badly, like just above minimum wage in New York City, by the way, which is next to impossible. But so it's this program of kind of like interns, but again, they're not interns, who their main job is giving tours of the NBC studios.
That's kind of cool.
It was kind of cool. So you would like get trained up on all of this NBC history and lore, and like the general public would buy tickets to come and tour 30 Rock, and you would give them tours and like, you know, regale them with stories and history. And you got to, but it was cool. They love it. You get to go into the SNL studio. You go into the nightly news studio. I think those are probably the big ones. Oh, Conan, Late Night with Conan O'Brien was in action when I was a page. But so then you also go on assignment. So you could get little like mini assignments within NBC. And one of my first assignments was to go work in Bob Wright's office. Now, he was the chairman and CEO of NBC Universal at the time.
Okay.
He also worked for GE. So like I am this like little wannabe know-nothing from Wisconsin. I grew up in Kenosha. And like I next find myself in New York City in the penthouse of 30 Rockefeller Plaza in Bob Wright's office. Basically, my job was like opening his mail and sorting his mail and like ordering a lunch or something, like nothing major. But I would stare out the window, and I was like in the south-facing window on the top of 30 Rock looking at the Empire State Building. And I was like, where am I? We used to, when I would open his mail, things would come in all the time from all kinds of like different people or places or whatever. Do you want to know who sent the most mail to Bob Wright?
Absolutely.
Donald J. Trump. Do you know why?
Why?
Because of The Apprentice, right? So
I guess that makes sense.
The NBC Apprentice was on, and he would like, I don't know if it was him. I don't know who it was. The man is nothing if not a self-promoter, right?
Yeah.
And not to get into politics on this, I'm not even going to take a position, but he would always send like newspaper cuttings or like printouts of ratings, and he would be like, hey Bob, did you see the ratings about like The Apprentice? But the thing that I always remember is he would always sign his name in a gold Sharpie pen, which I was like, I didn't even like know that was a thing, but he would always sign, you know, Donald J. Trump in a gold Sharpie pen and just kind of be calling out
That's weirdly amusing.
the accolades of The Apprentice at the time to Bob Wright, which I thought was really funny. Sorry. So my dog is in the room with us, and she sometimes...
The audience is not happy with the gold Sharpie story.
No, I'm sure not. The Poppy was like, yeah, screw that.
So that makes sense in terms of what a page does make sense. 'Cause, like my only examples of what like the term page were like reading Ivanhoe as a child. And then one of my best friends, she is a librarian, and she's told me that beginner people at the they're called pages.
That's kind of cute for a library.
I know, like, and for a library, it's like that
Like,
makes sense.
Pages of a book.
Yeah,
That's cute.
yeah, I thought that was really cute. So it's like I didn't know. I feel like it's slightly above like a production assistant,
Yeah.
but it's fun that they have their own title.
Sure. And the page program was amazing. As the coming out of college, and like it was all these like recent graduates from everywhere, like all over the country. We were all super broke together, so we would like figure out which bars served free food. There was this bar, it still exists. I go there every time I go back to New York. It's called Rudy's. They give you a free hot dog if you order a beer. So, like,
That's a good deal.
man, did I eat a lot of hot dogs.
Plus, you in New York, and it's like the cart dog capital of the world.
Exactly. It was not a good hot dog, but man, like 2 hot dogs for dinner, I'm set. I didn't need to pay any money. It was great. And instead, I paid $3 for my beer. They also still serve $3 beers.
That's impressive.
Can you stand it? So that was sort of how I made it in New York as a page. I got a job in the advertising department coming out of the page program. I did that for 2 years. And then this was in the hubbub of Conan taking over The Tonight Show, moving to LA, and then who was going to take over late night. And it hadn't been announced that it was Jimmy Fallon yet at that time. And I was like, I don't care who it is. I want in. Like, I want to work on that show. And I told my boss at the time, and he was pretty well connected. Frank Radis, if you're listening, thanks, man, for the hookup. He's probably not listening, but it would be cool if he did.
You could send him an email
And say-
afterwards and be like, hey, you get a shout out in this, but don't tell him when.
Yeah.
So he has to listen to the whole episode.
Exactly. But so he made a phone call for me and was kind of like, hey, you should, talk to, I was his assistant. You should talk to my assistant. She's interested in working on your show. And then I talked to the EP, Mike Shoemaker. He's sometimes referenced as Mikey the Shoe on the Seth Meyers show because he's the EP
Okay.
of
Yeah,
that
yeah, I've
show.
heard that name before.
The loveliest human alive, had a meeting with me, and this was even before they crewed up next to anyone. They're like, we don't even know what we want you to do, but it's great to meet you, and you seem great, and so yeah, we'll make a spot for you. And I was like, oh my god.
What did you do?
I was the assistant to the segment producers for Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. So that meant there were 3 dudes. They were also awesome. I had so much fun working on that show. They were responsible for the guest interviews. So they would pre-interview anybody who was coming on the show. Spoiler alert, if you thought those were organic and, natural conversations happening between host and guest, they were pre-planned.
Whoa.
The guests already knew what questions the host was going to ask. I know, I'm sorry, I'm giving all the secrets away. Poppy's barking at me.
The NBC people are going to come knock down my door now.
No, but so they would prepare the interview portions of the show for the host, who was Jimmy. And I would just help them. So if someone was coming on to promote a movie, I'd make sure that we had a movie clip ready to roll, or a book. I'd make sure that the book made it to the prop department. I'd help book their pre-interviews. My one big claim to fame at the top of the show, Jimmy would always be like, we got a great show for you tonight. So-and-so is going to be on, and so-and-so is going to be on. I would write that.
Like that little blurb?
Yes. So,
Cool.
I don't know what's a good example. Donald J. Trump, host of The Apprentice and future president of the United States. I would, write that so that Jimmy knew, what to say. He would just, announce who the guests were at the top of the show.
And I don't know, maybe it's because I've never worked in television, but, I guess I kind of get it. I've been doing this show for 9 years. And the little intro I gave you, I have to write hello and welcome, or else I will probably forget.
Correct.
Man, all these stories of behind the scenes, I just feel like I'm watching season 4 of Hacks all over again.
And ooh, sorry, that was a bad hit.
It's okay.
Jimmy would always improvise and do whatever he wanted. I just had to have sort of the nuts and bolts factoid bits in his prompter. He was a teleprompter guy. Seth is a cue card guy. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so we did that for 2 years, and it was super fun. But man, talk about being broke. Living in New York City at that point for 5 years.
Yeah.
Literally going into debt, being there to do this work. And I had the conversation of hey, do you think I could ever make more money or get a promotion? And it was basically told 1 million people want your job. So suck it up, buttercup.
I looked into the prices in New York one time. I was there for a film festival. I was also an editor for Trauma Entertainment for a while. And so I was like, well, I say I had a job out there, but Lloyd Kaufman wasn't paying me. I'm texting buddies with the guy who created the Toxic Avenger. That was my payment. But I looked at apartments and I was like, oh man, I have it made here in Milwaukee, and I had no money in Milwaukee, but I had it made in comparison. So how did doing Jimmy Fallon's teleprompter lead a ski team.
Yeah, so I moved back to Chicago this was in the aftermath of Oprah. Remember Oprah in Chicago?
Yes.
And she's like, oh, now I'm doing the OWN network and I'm moving out to LA. And so in the aftermath of that, the local television station in Chicago, ABC7, from which Oprah was born, her show started as a regional syndicate out of ABC7 in Chicago. They're like, we're going to do it again. We're starting another talk show. It's going to be the next Oprah. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. It was called Windy City Live. And spoiler alert, it did not become the next Oprah.
What?
I know.
It didn't become the next. Well, they didn't have a second Oprah.
You hadn't heard about it because it didn't succeed.
In case the audience couldn't tell, I was being facetious.
Right. It was around for 10 years. It was fine. It was called Windy City Live. It was a live chat show. I mean, we had great hosts and a really lovely team that worked on it. I did it for 2 years. And I'll tell you what, live TV, I got a little taste of it because I would help out on the Today Show when I worked in advertising for NBC. But live TV is oof. You just feel like you hold your breath the whole time. You go live and you're like, oh my God, here we go the whole time. And the number of sort of close calls where I forgot to put a prop on set that they needed and it's live, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you try to prep a segment as best as you can, and then maybe the host drops their card and then they're winging it, and you're like, all that preparation for nothing, because there's no editing, there's no fixing it. When it happens, and that's the end.
Yeah.
So that was my live TV experience. I didn't love it because I really love an edit. I love the control of sitting in an edit. So that was Chicago. I met my now husband when I was still living in New York. He's from Scotland. He was on vacation. We met at a bar in Hoboken, New Jersey, when I asked him if he wanted to smoke a cigarette. I don't smoke anymore. But that was how we met. And we were long distance dating while he was in Scotland and I was in Chicago. And then he's like, you know what? You should move to Scotland. You could get a job over here. And I was like, yeah, I could, but how do I do that? And I was able to get a visa. This is so crazy. For an exceptional talent. There's a thing called an exceptional talent visa.
I would just put that in my resume if you ever got that.
It's so nonsense. I knew it because the photographer for Jimmy Fallon, now the photographer for Seth Meyers, his name is Lloyd Bishop. He's a Scottish man. I met him when I was working on the show. He knew that I was dating a Scottish guy. And he was like, oh, yeah, good over there. Just get an exceptional talent visa like he did. And he talked me through it and told me how to make the application. And I don't know why, but they approved it. And so I was able to go to Scotland for 3 years. I worked as a freelance TV producer over there. That was really cool. I worked on some home makeover shows, some property finding shows. I did some documentary type storytelling about the world's richest philanthropists. That was called Good Fortunes. It was fascinating. I was able to they sent me around the world to make really cool stuff. It was great. But I did that for 3 years. Then my visa was up. Thankfully, my then boyfriend, now husband, asked me to marry him. So we came back to the United States to get married. We did that. I started working at an ad agency. Yeah. Is that what happened? No. I did a job at The Onion for a TV show for a second.
You've done so much.
That was fast. Then I started working for an ad agency because we wanted to be in Milwaukee. We love Milwaukee.
Yeah.
When we lived in Glasgow, or in Scotland, we lived in Glasgow. Glasgow feels a lot like Milwaukee. Working class roots, a city, but not massive, but a lot of kind of pride in your city. And so Neil and I, my husband, we were living in Chicago, and we were like, we're never going to be able to buy a house here. We're never going to be able to have kids and all that. And so we hung out in Milwaukee a lot and really liked it. And we're like, well, let's do Milwaukee then, because that definitely seems more our vibe. And that is where we have been for the last 9 years. And I worked at an ad agency, and I learned all about advertising and brand content and short form. And so then COVID happened, and then everybody who worked in production got laid off. Remember that? And I started Ski Team with a partner because we both were laid off from our advertising producer jobs. We started Ski Team because we were like, there's a way to do production very smart and very efficient, and big agencies aren't doing it that way. I don't know if that's news to anyone, but we were like, well, we know how to make the stuff, and we know how to do it quickly and efficiently and cost effectively. So let's just do that. And that's what we do at Ski Team. I'm a sole business owner now. I had bought out my partner to be like a big boss lady, and that's where I'm at. So I'm running Ski Team Productions, Ski Team Video Agency. We make short form content. We make a lot of videos. We work with agencies. We work with brands. We say we're your production best friend, because I think there's a lot of people out there who want to make video and they want to make good video. They just don't know how, and we know how, and we help them do it.
I love that. And it's kind of an interesting journey that got you to this point. And
Yeah. What are we, a half an hour into the podcast now, and I just finished my own introduction?
23 minutes. Austin, you're going to have some fun cutting that down.
Sorry.
This is why I have an editor. Because I had the bad habit of I just kept everything. I was like, this is good conversation. Now I have an editor to listen to it and be like,
no, that
we can
was
cut this
super
down.
boring, right? Yeah, take out any part that you want. It's fine.
But I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And I'm happy that we were able to make this work. And unless you have more you want to talk about with Ski Team,
No,
I think we
man.
got a movie to talk about.
Yeah, let's do it to it.
All right, so I'm going to introduce the movie, and then what we'll do is I'll ask you about, because it sounds like you had a story behind why you hadn't seen this movie.
I did.
And then we could talk about the movie itself. So, as is tradition here on the show, whenever we have a guest, I like to ask them to dig into their own personal shame list and find a movie that they've never seen before. Lynne's selection is a good one. Jonathan Demme's The Silence of the Lambs. A serial killer known as Buffalo Bill is on the loose. His victims, all women, are abducted, held captive, murdered, and skinned before being dumped. The FBI is desperate and enlists one of their youngest trainees, Clarice Starling, to help with the case. To gain insight into the killer's mind, Clarice is sent to interview another, Dr. Hannibal Lecter, a brilliant psychiatrist and a cannibal. What begins as a simple interrogation spirals into tense psychological chess match, with Lecter offering cryptic clues only after toying with Clarice. The Silence of the Lambs is based on the best-selling novel by Thomas Harris. The screenplay was written by Ted Talley and directed by Jonathan Demme, who, until then, was best known for his offbeat comedies and music documentaries, more so than thrillers. But Demme brought an eerie sense of intimacy and psychological depth to the material, transforming it into a chilling character study that straddles the line between procedural and horror. Jodie Foster, who had personally pursued the rights to the book, stars as Clarice, while Anthony Hopkins delivers an iconic, haunting performance as Lecter, despite appearing on screen for just over 16 minutes. Upon release, the film was both a critical and commercial success. At the 64th Academy Awards, it pulled off a rare sweep of the Big Five: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay. It remains the only horror film to ever achieve that honor. The film also stars Scott Glenn, Ted Levine, and Brooke Smith, with cinematography by Tak Fujimoto, a haunting score by Howard Shore, and editing by Craig McKay. Written by Ted Talley, directed by Jonathan Demme from 1991. This is Silence of the Lambs.
You spook easily, Starling?
Not yet, sir.
He's past the others. The last cell. I'll be watching. You'll do fine.
A killer is on the loose.
Keeps them alive for 3 days. Then he shoots them, skins them, and dumps them.
A rookie FBI agent is on his trail.
He's got real physical strength, cautious, precise, and he's never impulsive. He'll never stop.
But in order to track him down, she'll have to match wits.
I'll help you catch him, Clary.
Believe me, you don't want Hannibal Lecter inside your head.
With the darkest of all minds.
Just do your job, but never forget what he is.
But he's a monster. Pure psychopath. So rare to capture one alive.
So close to the way you're gonna catch him. Do you realize that? Oh, Clarice, your problem is you need to get more fun out of life.
You told me you don't spook easily.
You call this easy, sir?
Lecter's missing an arm.
Man's a raving maniac. Who knows what he'll do?
Thank you, Clary. Thank you.
So,
Am I the first person to do Silence of the Lambs? You've been doing this for so long. Do you ever repeat movies or no?
I think it's only happened technically once that we've ever repeated a movie, and it's only because. So on this show as well, I'm a big physical media guy. I'm a big into movie collecting, and I do physical media reviews for boutique Blu-ray companies. I think the only time I've ever repeated something was I reviewed something in short form early on in the show, and then we actually did the film. Actually, yes, it was Susan Kearns.
Oh,
Back to Susan.
there we go. Full circle.
She came on earlier this year to talk about a small Wisconsin-made horror film called Blood Beat. So that's the only one I've technically repeated.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
I try not to repeat. I try not to repeat episodes. I try to keep it. The only time I feel like I'd repeat something is if there was a reason to.
Sure.
Like if I had someone on who was involved in it or something like that. But yeah, we've not discussed Silence of the Lambs.
And is the reason I think I immediately assumed a shame list is based on the fact that it's a movie that is well known or celebrated and like everyone should have watched it. And so when someone doesn't, there's embarrassment about that fact, or is everybody's shame for different reasons?
So you're hitting the nail right on the head. So the show started for that reason. You know, having gone to film school, there's big seminal movies that sometimes you miss, and you don't like to admit when you haven't seen something. So like I remember specifically myself. Someone asked if I'd seen Apocalypse Now when I was in school, and I didn't want to admit that I hadn't seen it.
Sure.
So I lied. I was like, yeah, I've seen it. It's great. And you just try to hope they don't ask any details. But I realized, why do we have this shame? Why do we feel this way? And the show did start as that, as a way to, cross off these big seminal movies. But at the same time, it's my show. My basic rule, as long as someone in the conversation hasn't seen it,
Yeah.
any movie can be a shameless movie.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the thought behind it. It's like, what's something seminal that you haven't seen? Like the episode that'll be coming out before this one was I had a member of Milwaukee Film on, Robin Ehrlich, who works there. I think she works in their PR department. Robin, if I didn't quite get that right, I apologize. She hadn't seen Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
But then we will like talk about smaller things. Like when Susan was on, we did Blood Beat, and we did like Tank Girl.
Okay.
Tank Girl is a cult classic, but it's not in the same level as say like Shawshank Redemption or Silence of the Lambs. But I think it all counts.
Well, and that's like why when you asked about the movie, I was immediately like Silence of the Lambs. I've toyed with this movie since it came out in theaters because it's such a part of pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows Hannibal Lecter. Full circle again. As Donald J. Trump would say, the late, great Hannibal Lecter.
Man, we've had a lot of Donald Trump content on this episode so far.
What was he even saying that in reference to? Remember when he said that? He said it in his speech. He referenced the late, great Hannibal Lecter.
I have no clue.
No idea.
Austin, if you're listening, find that clip.
Silence of the Lamb. Has anyone ever seen The Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner as this poor doctor walked by. I'm about to have a friend for dinner.
Right, he definitely did. But I am not a horror genre fan at all, to put it mildly. But I know it's a great film, and have toyed with the idea of watching it for a long time. And then this was the straw that broke the camel's back, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
This was like, yes, okay, this would make sense to talk about this on this podcast. I finally have to buck up and watch this horror movie, this celebrated Best Picture horror movie.
And I love that because sometimes with those big seminal films, I can't speak for anyone else but myself, but sometimes those will be the ones I push off, not because I don't think I'm not going to like it, but my thought process is, like, let's use The Godfather as an example. I hadn't seen The Godfather until I did this show.
Oh.
And part of the reason why was The Godfather wasn't going anywhere.
It's always going to be there.
It's always going to be there. I know its reputation. And sometimes there's those movies that even if you don't like it or respond to it, you can appreciate that it's a great film. It just may not work for you. So and especially when I was in college, I was chasing down the more obscure things. So it's like, yeah, I could watch The Godfather, or I could watch all the movies that were inspired by The Godfather and watch those weird little rip-off movies.
Sure.
And like that's kind of the path that I went. So sometimes some of those big ones you miss.
Sure.
No,
I avoided. I did not miss this. I actively avoided.
So besides not liking horror, where did the aversion come from?
It is purely horror, but I do have a personal story about Silence of the Lambs in particular. My older brother is 7 years older than me. And when Silence of the Lambs came out, what was it, 94?
91.
91. Okay. That makes me 9 years old.
Okay.
My brother is 16.
Okay.
He went with his friends to Silence of the Lambs. There was a lot of buzz around it. I think even when it was in theaters, it was like, it was getting known as a good movie, like a creepy, scary movie, like one to see. He and his friends went to see it. I remember this as though it's playing in front of my eyes. I hear Ted, my brother Ted, come home, and I woke up because I hear him. He goes into my parents' bedroom, and I can hear his conversation with my mother. And he said, "Mom, I'm so freaked out. Can I just sleep on the floor in here?"
And how old was he at the time?
16.
Okay. Was he not a horror person, or?
I think he was, but it's like
interesting.
There's a difference between Silence of the Lambs as like a psychological thriller and like what might be more of the campy horror, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that like he was.
Yeah, it's a very different tone.
Right. Like there's a spooky truth behind Hannibal Lecter, right? Or Buffalo Bill that you're like, there's actually psychos like this out there. And I feel better not thinking about them.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I just remember in my core pledging to myself, whatever this movie was that frightened my big, brave 16-year-old brother to the point that he's asking my mother, "Can I please sleep at the foot of your bed because I'm so terrified?" I'm like, I will never watch this movie.
Okay, that's fair. That's a pretty good reason to put off something.
Yeah.
So before this show, was there ever any other times where you were circling around watching it? Because it's one thing when a movie comes out and you have that word of mouth from your brother, but you said you were 9 years old at the time?
Yeah.
So you probably weren't paying attention to the Oscars, but
No.
as you got older and got more involved in the world of film,
Yeah.
did the fact that it won so many awards start to change your perspectives? Like, maybe I should see this.
Absolutely. I was a film student at UW-Madison. And so this was one of those ones where people would be like, "You never saw Silence of the Lambs?" And I would be like, "No." And I'm like, but like I knew it had won Best Picture at that point. Like I knew about like the Hannibal Lecter references from the fava beans or the Chianti or whatever the lines are, like coming up, and like understanding that it was a part of this film, which it seems like everyone in the universe knows about, watched, was in on, and I wasn't. And I had a strong desire to know what they knew, and I like couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah. So now that you've finally seen Silence of the Lambs,
Yes.
give me your thoughts.
Sure. Oh, I have one other tee up to my horror.
Oh, please do.
Horror version. This also ties into me being a UW-Madison film student. I did a film theory and criticism class, but this is also before like you could readily be getting DVDs. There was like not a really you remember when Netflix did DVDs? You could do a rental. This is pre that.
So you still had to go to the video store.
You had to go to the video store and get it. We could watch them on DVD, but the school also hosted screenings like in movie theaters. Like sometimes they would have like 8mm copies of stuff. It was pretty cool. But so I saw in the syllabus for the course the films that we were going to be tasked with watching, reviewing, and like writing papers on or whatever, thinking critically about and analyzing. In the list is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. I am panicking again. I am not for horror. I just don't do it.
Yes.
I hate blood. I hate murder. I hate all of it. And I'm like, I remember saying to my friend Cassidy, she probably will listen to this podcast. So hi, Cassidy. She was a film student with me. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do because I don't want to watch this movie and it's going to freak me out. She's like, you'll be fine. She's like, it's an older movie. It's going to be fine. I will sit by you in the movie theater. Bless her, she did. So we're in the movie theater with most of my classmates. It was like a full theater to watch Psycho. And we're watching it, and I'm like, okay. And, like, I'm not, like, covering my eyes or anything. Maybe I did a few times. I can't remember. But we get to the end, and Bates, what was his first name? Norman.
Bates.
I was going to say Nathan. Norman Bates goes to turn around his mother downstairs, who we think up until this point has been doing all of the murders, right? This terrible woman. And she's a skeleton. And I kid you not, I'm like, oh my God. Like, the only one in the theater, the only one to have this authentic reaction. The boy sitting in front of me turns around and he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, she's dead. And he's like, yeah, you've never seen Psycho? No. And I was like, no. So the amazing twist of Psycho that I feel like everyone knows, I definitely didn't. And
that's so pure,
though. So pure.
That's amazing. Like,
it was. I really enjoyed that film because I was with it step for step. Alfred Hitchcock took me on this journey. I went every step of the way, and the twist knocked my socks off. I was amazed.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And then there's so many interesting things about that film too, like the fact that he was using his television crew at the time. And like when I was a kid and I saw Psycho for the first time, I just, the movie's in black and white, and I was like, well, old movies were in black and white. It's also crazy to think movies were in color at that time. He chose to make it black and white so it can have that gritty aesthetic. So you went from you finally saw Psycho. You were afraid to see it, and I get that because Psycho was also one of the movies that I was afraid to see at a young age.
Well, didn't they say it literally impacted people taking showers?
Yeah.
Like people stopped taking showers.
Yeah, to this day I can't have I have to have the shower curtain open.
From that movie?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I saw it at a very young age, and my mom showed it to me. And it's still a movie we bond over, funny enough. But I always whenever the shower curtain's closed, I'm just gonna open you just in case,
right.
just in case.
Just in case Norman Bates' mom is there.
Yeah, you never know. So you were worried about seeing that movie. You saw it, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounded like you really. I don't want to say you loved it, but you definitely really appreciated it.
Oh, I fully appreciated it. So I was hoping that my Silence of the Lambs experience would be similar to my Psycho experience.
Was it?
Yes and no. I had to mentally prepare myself a little more for Silence of the Lambs.
There was more baggage involved with Silence of the Lambs.
Yes. So I will say I really enjoyed Silence of the Lambs for a lot of reasons, but I was fully and mentally prepared by any potential twist, turn, or perceived spoiler because I needed to get ready for it. Like, I needed to understand. So, I knew Hannibal Lecter was going to be wearing someone's face at some point. So
you looked this stuff up ahead of time?
Well, just in conversations because everybody in the planet has seen this film. And so, yes, I just needed to know what kind of horror, what kind of scare I was in for. And if I knew in advance, I knew he was going to wear someone's skin. And I'm like, okay, I can take it because it's not going to shock me. And that moment in the film actually is quite a jump scare.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because the movie in some way, while it is grisly, it is relatively tame in some ways in that it's not. It's implying a lot more, but it's not. You're not seeing the grisly horror of someone's face being ripped off.
No.
You are seeing the aftermath of things.
And that was the big twist in that film. So that twist didn't happen on me. You don't know when they're wheeling Hannibal Lecter out wearing the cop's face. You think it's that cop. You think Hannibal Lecter's hiding in the elevator shaft.
Yeah.
If I were to go openly on the journey with Silence of the Lambs the way that I did with Psycho, that would have been a complete shock, terrifying moment to me.
Yeah.
But I didn't let myself do that. I have felt like with Silence of the Lambs, I needed to know what I was in for, what was coming for me, what scared my 16-year-old brother half to death so that I could cope.
Yeah. Well, and then this movie has two of those. Has two of those moments where it's really tense. So you have the Hannibal Lecter fake out.
Mm-hmm.
And even me knowing about that, the way they orchestrate those scenes is really fascinating because like I was watching my wife watch the movie because I feel like she might have seen this movie but not much of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching her react.
And now, did you have to watch it recently to get ready for this?
Oh yeah, I always rewatch them.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I always rewatch whenever we're discussing something. So I was watching her watch it and
had she seen it before?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Or at least I think it might have been one of those movies that so before me and my wife lived by ourselves, she actually lived with me and my mom for a little bit. So it might have been a movie that me and my mom were watching and she was just doing something else. So it was on in the background. So I don't think she wasn't anticipating that.
Okay.
But then you also have that other amazing fake out near the end of the film where you think the cops are going to be busting in on Buffalo Bill and the door's ringing, you're ready for these cops to storm in, and it's Clarice.
Yeah.
And she has no idea that she's walking into the lair of Buffalo Bill.
That one I saw coming. That one I didn't know about in advance, but I put it together. It was going to be too neat. It was going to be too neat of a finish for the cops to get Buffalo Bill. So I was like, they're on the wrong trail. They're sniffing up the wrong tree. This is not going to pan out.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. But then you have that entire like labyrinth scene in the basement with the night vision goggles.
The night vision goggles? Are you kidding me? I was on the I was like, I feel stressed out just thinking about it. That, like, the empathy for Clarice in that situation, in a basement, in the dark, there's a murderer trying to find you. I can't think of a worse scenario to find yourself in.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. It's nuts. Like, it's, and like, because you're not, because Clarice isn't, like, she's not going there expecting to wind up finding Buffalo Bill. She's just chasing a lead.
Oh, and I loved the beauty of when she figured it out.
Yeah.
Because of the moth.
The moth, yes.
She saw the moth. And
like she's putting together details in the house.
Yes.
And her intuition is kicking in.
Yes.
And like I love the character Clarice because she's a very smart character, but the movie still allows her to be naive.
Sure.
Because she is still in training.
She's young.
She's figuring things out.
Sure.
And so,
because like for the longest time when I looked at Silence of the Lambs, the movie poster, that never made sense to me.
Oh, the moth?
The moth on her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I don't know. And like that was a click aha moment for me when she's seeing the moth in Buffalo Bill's house. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, they referenced it a little bit earlier because she goes and sees the bug guys or whatever. Whoever those two were, that was an interesting scene. But
yeah,
that pivotal moment of when it clicks for her, this is Buffalo Bill, there's the moth, and then the tie into the movie poster, that I enjoyed. I was like, oh, nice. Yeah,
no, and like her performance in that scene, I just thought was so fantastic. And there's little things too. So, my wife commented when we were watching the movie that, so she knows Jodie Foster's voice because she Mrs. Impossible in the Impossibles, and she goes, "Oh, is she doing more of an accent?" And I was like, "It's interesting that you picked up on that, especially because you just know her voice,
right?"
And then I love that she picked up on that because then that becomes kind of a plot point with Hannibal Lecter too, where he is talking about her trying to hide an accent,
right?
And I just think she's bringing so much to this movie, and just like she's pretty even keel throughout the entire movie. But she's just bringing so much subtlety to that performance. And like I said, just the moment with everything clicking for her.
Yeah.
And there's that, it's such a brief moment, but like Buffalo Bill turns to go get the cards and she quickly just unclips her gun and hides it back again. Like she's nervous and not too sure what's going to come from this. And can you imagine just chasing the lead? Like, oh, I got to go talk to this old lady. And then you just winding up at that guy's house.
But they do it from the get with her. There were so many times because I feel like I had a lot of empathy for her. I identified as a woman with her, like in a male environment all the time. And so even when she goes on her assignment to the prison to meet him for the first time, and they're giving her the laundry list of things like not to do, you know, like don't get close to the glass, da-da-da-da-da. Like, you know, never like...
Don't give him any non-soft paper, which is
right.
Like, what's soft paper? She's giving him a lot of paper throughout this movie.
Crazy long list of things not to do because he's horrific.
Yeah.
Every ounce of my being is screaming, get the hell out of there. Like, don't do it. Just don't do it. Turn around and go home. And she, like, marches straight in there. And I'm like, dang, girl. Like, wow.
Yeah, and then like, but they also like she's like legitimately marching in there. She's ready, but I also love that they're not afraid to show. She's afraid.
Yes,
and she shows that.
That subtlety to her performance of she's like trying to show a brave face, but you know that she's scared, and yeah, like I thought it was really. She's amazing. She's an amazing actress.
Yeah, and then. So it's when I first heard about this movie when I was younger, I didn't know. I thought the entire movie was just Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. I thought like Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter was like the bad guy of this movie. I didn't know about the whole Buffalo Bill plot. Like that's the plot of this movie. Hannibal Lecter is pretty much the subplot of this movie. But what I was watching at this most recent time, I was really focusing heavily on Jonathan Demme's direction and where he places the camera.
Oh yeah.
If I urge anyone at home who if you've seen this movie, go back and rewatch the sequences between Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling and just watch the height of the camera change and how the way that Jonathan Demme is handing is pretty much showing power dynamic changing.
The closeness. I kept physically feeling myself want to push away from the screen.
Yes.
Because he would get so close to him and I'm like, oh, like every ounce of my being was like widen out. Please just like dolly away from Anthony Hopkins. It is too close. The way he is staring, it is like that those choices like really made it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I find myself one of the reasons I find myself so fascinated with this, or going back to the Hitchcock of it all, fascinated with his choices, because nothing was accidental. Everything was a choice. And I feel like, so I've worked with a lot of filmmakers, and I sometimes I feel like there's definitely things that filmmakers and myself included do just because there's a lot of subconsciousness going on, choices you make. You may not necessarily think it's like, oh, I want to set the camera a little bit lower to make this character seem more imposing. You may not be able to think of that, but it's something that subconsciously that happens. But then I also think there is just the general, well, this looks cool, let's just do it. But when I watch Silence of the Lambs, even when the shots are cool, I feel like every camera movement has its purpose and has its place.
So calculated.
In a way that looking at, and I even said this in my intro, looking at Jonathan Demme's career up until that point, I almost feel like if I were a studio executive back in the 90s and Jonathan Demme came up to me wanting to make a Silence of the Lambs movie, I would almost be like, does he have it in him? Can he make, like, he's a good filmmaker, but can he do this? And he did.
He really did.
Yeah.
And the other aspect of those shots where both Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins are staring down the barrel of the lens, like, very closely. I was like, the nuances of that performance I thought was really amazing because I was taking myself out of the film and reminding myself Anthony Hopkins isn't talking to anyone. He's literally staring at a camera right now. But the way that he's looking, the intensity of it, the line delivery, like it's perfection. Like there's no everything about it. He is talking to Clarice. And and like vice versa.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kept thinking, he's just delivering this to a camera.
Yeah.
Like he's not actually, Jodie Foster's not sitting behind the camera. You know what I mean? In terms of like performance.
Yeah. And it's for anyone out there who listening who has not been in front of a camera, it is incredibly hard to forget it's there.
Right.
And
or to pretend it's a person.
Even more so back in the 90s when they were using those large film cameras.
Right.
For someone to be able to look past the camera, dedicate yourself to the eye line that has been established, and try to pretend that the camera's not there and not accidentally look at it. Like I've been in front of a camera a fair amount of times. I just doing commercial work or whatnot. I have a specific look, so people will cast me just for that, which I'm fine with. I have no problem. I have no problem being typecast, so anyone can just send me an email. I'll probably say yes. But anyways, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it's they're beautiful little moments that feel so close. But the distance, and if Jodie Foster was there, she had a whole camera and a crew in front of her.
Right.
Like if anything, maybe she was there feeding lines or whatnot. But they weren't staring eye to eye.
No, but you would never know it. Like you feel like you are Clarice. He's talking to you. He's speaking to you. He's intimidating you. Like he's terrifying.
And
like.
He had like I said in my intro, he had so little screen time in this movie.
I didn't appreciate that when you said he was on for like 16 minutes.
16 minutes.
And he had the best Oscar award for that, or I'm sorry, best actor.
Yeah, like that is enough. That is.
But I get it.
That would be like a supporting. Technically, I think that would be considered supporting.
Sure.
But like they sold the movie on his name.
Well, and like from the get, I remember the impact when she's walking down the hallway of the jail and you see all of the cretins and other prisoners and whoever the horrible one who is next to him who he ends up somehow.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but
he somehow
I want to say
him.
Mars or something like that.
Yeah. But and then you get to his and he's standing there staring.
He's the only one who doesn't have bars. He has like that
there,
plexiglass.
Standing there staring right at you, like at the spot. Like you've got her POV, right? She's kind of walking past to try to find him. And then there he is staring at her, waiting for her, just standing there like a total creepazoid. I remember because in my mind, I'm like, oh, what's he going to be like? Like he's this horrible, creature person that they just have set up, and then there he is. Like, I don't know. There was something so startling about his first entrance on screen.
And it changed pop culture because this was not the first big screen version of Hannibal Lecter.
I didn't know that.
Michael Mann made not Mindhunter. What is it? Manhunter. Duh. Michael Mann made Manhunter but in the 80s. And Alex Cox plays Hannibal Lecter in that version. But most people don't remember Alex Cox playing Hannibal Lecter. Everyone remembers Anthony Hopkins.
Sure. I mean, there's something actually likable about his Hannibal Lecter. I don't know about the other guy, but like there is a weird seduction to Anthony Hopkins' portrayal of this character.
Yeah, he's charming. Like you want to not like him because you know that he's a psychopath.
Right.
But if you were to just probably see some of those scenes without knowing what he's done, be like, okay, he's kind of got a charm to him, and he's polite. He's got manners.
So smart, very fast, like just
fact that he can come up with anagrams just on a fucking whim.
Right. It's he's the character is really I don't know. I thought very impactful and interesting.
And I feel like Clarice wasn't ready for it either, because she's probably thinking, okay, yeah, he's a man of stature, but he's probably going to be like these other people in these other cells, but he's very civilized, and in a way that, like I said, if you were to just transplant his performance out of a cell into something else, like, would you still feel like there's something sinister? I don't know.
I think so.
Like, probably, but I feel like it might take a little bit longer for it to sink in.
There's a feeling. I think you would, like, maybe share a space with him and be like, there's something about that guy.
Yeah. And then, like, he's weirdly enough a man of principle. Like, he seems like he has his moral code that he's going to stick to. It's a flawed moral code, but, like, when he calls Clarice at the end, and he says because he's pretty much says what everyone else is thinking, and he says, "Don't worry, I'm not coming after you." And I haven't seen any of the sequels. I don't know if Clarice ever pops up again, but I choose to believe that he kept to that, because I think he respects her.
Yeah, there definitely is something there, if not romantic. I don't know. Like, is he kind of in love with her? Like, I don't get any sort of a sexual orientation vibe off of him. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like sex is something that he thinks about.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It is.
All right, so I don't want to keep you too late, because we kind of got a late start, but I did want to ask, now that you've seen Silence of the Lambs and you've kind of worked yourself past that hurdle, do you think this is a movie that you'd ever rewatch again?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I mean, for a lot of the reasons that we talked about, like I think the director's choices are so interesting, and the responses that they elicit in terms of, like, reaction in the viewer, I think, are really interesting. There's so much B storyline in this movie as well that I really enjoyed. Like, there's so much mystery and kind of pulling clues together. Like, you're trying to kind of figure out Buffalo Bill's motivation for a lot of it, and they never answer any of it for you. You don't know why exactly he's after size 14 women. Like, they hint at it, like, when he screams, like, you don't know what pain is. Like, there's some trauma, right? That he's, like, overcoming. He wants to be a woman. They, like, not
making a bodysuit.
Correct.
So he's probably chose that size because he knows he can fit into that.
I don't know. He's a long, skinny guy. My assumption was that it's like a mommy issue of some kind.
Yeah.
Was his mom a size 14? Because this was an important plot point when he was going to kill the first woman, not his first woman, but the first victim we see. And I remember thinking about that, like, well, that must be an important clue, right? But then we never get the payoff of why,
They give you just enough.
Right. And I sort of enjoyed the, like, mystery aspect of it. And when it was over, still thinking about those clues, or still thinking about why Buffalo Bill was the way that he was. And I like that, the clues and the mystery aspect of it, and that they don't tie it up neatly with a bow, right?
No.
Like, here's Buffalo Bill's backstory. Here's why he's a killer, and all the rest of it, we don't know.
No. And Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill, his performance is just so unsettling.
Eek.
And then just a couple of little things I wanted to highlight before we start wrapping up. One, I love that the woman who played Catherine Martin, the woman who was in the well in the basement, which, by the way, that basement, I feel like the square footage of that basement is bigger than the house.
How many levels?
Yeah.
There's like sub-levels of the basement.
That's a huge basement.
Right.
But I loved her performance too, because I love that she wasn't just a victim.
No.
She was gonna do anything she could to get out of that.
Getting the dog, such a smart move.
And I felt so bad for her when Clarice is like, I gotta leave this room. Because like in my mind, if I was Catherine Martin, I'd be like, if this woman dies, I'm stuck down
Yes.
here. Like the fact that Clarice didn't at least use Bill's phone to just dial 911 and leave it off the hook or something. She had a lot of faith that she could get him. And like I said, we've already talked about it a little bit.
I remember taking a little bit of umbrage because I think she, her character calls Clarice like a bitch or something.
Yeah.
She's like, get back here, you bitch, or like whatever it is. And I was like, girl, calm down. She's going to save you. And then I was like, oh, but you've been in a well for a really long time and you got to get out there. So I understand.
Yeah. Like, I get it. You're feeling some feels. Things are tense. Yes. But I wanted to point her out, and then I just want I don't have internet, so I can't look up the set designer or the set decorator. But whoever did the sets in this movie, I hope they also won something, because every room, every location felt legitimate and felt lived in.
Christy Zaya, production design.
All right, well, we'll give the credit to Christy Zaya. Because all the, like when they were going through Buffalo Bill's, when Clarice went to the home of Bill's first victim and she was looking through the bedroom, it legitimately just feels like they walked into someone's house and be like, just shoot it as is.
Yeah, exactly.
Or all the layers of grime and filth in Buffalo Bill's lair, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like everything just feels lived in and never feels movie decorated.
No, it feels very real. And then that like you brought to mind, because as I was watching it, kept trying to like pick up on clues or like, oh, what's this? The cats. There was this like undercurrent of cats. The first character who he kidnaps, and you know the actress's name, and I can't.
I know the character's name, Catherine Martin.
Oh, so she had a cat that was like meowing down at her from the parking lot, and she's trying to get in. And then the second victim, whose house Clarice went to, little kittens, cats, like everywhere. And so I'm like, oh, there's a cat thing. But so then in my head, I went back to, I'm like, his mom. These are women who are emblematic of his mom. His mom had cats. Something happened traumatic, like with him, between him and his mother. And like he's trying to like almost crawl back inside her body. That was my theory of like he's creating this mom suit that he's going to literally inhabit his mom again. That's my theory.
Oh, I like that. And I think I have the book for it at home. I'd be curious to read it.
Is there an answer? Do we know?
I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Because I'd be curious. I'd be curious to get because we have the surface of it.
Yeah.
That he's building a suit, but like you said, there's so many more layers as to why, and I am curious to see if it's ever explained.
And also, why does Hannibal Lecter know all of these people? Like, why is he connected to all of these psychos? Like that, this Buffalo Bill was his patient. Like what?
Yeah, and I don't know. Just knowing
the
Hannibal Lecter, I don't feel like he is a cheap doctor to go see.
Well, no, and remember the guy whose head we found in the garage in the storage unit?
Yep,
that was his patient too, and it was like all weirdly connected. And I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe he. Well, I don't know if this is a detail in the book, but there was a TV show, a Hannibal TV show that's really good. And Mads Mikkelsen plays Hannibal Lecter in that version of it. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe Hannibal Lecter's character, at least in the TV show, works with the FBI.
Okay.
So it might be one of those things. It's like, all right, we have these people. Go treat them. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I wondered about that because I'm like, I thought they went to Hannibal Lecter because he understood the minds of murderers, right? But then I guess I was kind of surprised in that, oh no, he just doesn't understand the minds of murderers. Kill Bill was his Kill Bill. Buffalo Bill was his patient.
Yeah. And he says it wasn't for long. Like it was only a couple sessions. But yeah, it's interesting that if they didn't already know that when they sent Clarice, it is a little bit of a works out a little too perfectly.
Easy. That's a little bit of a too easy.
But
so.
it's one of those things I can suspend my disbelief with depending on how it's depicted.
Yeah.
But so I want to start wrapping down a little bit.
Sorry, I could talk about this forever.
No, it's fine. I just don't want to keep you too late. So on this, I probably should have prepped you for this ahead of time, but I chose not to.
Oh,
well, I
boy.
didn't choose not to. I forgot to. On this show, we do something called the Thrill House moment, which is I don't know if you ever watched The Simpsons much, but
sometimes
there was a moment in an episode of The Simpsons where it's recreating that really famous, I think, RCA picture of the guy like in the chair and like. The speakers are blowing his hair back. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh, sure.
They're recreating that, and the character of Milhouse is playing a video game, and it like blows his hair back.
Okay.
He's like, all I've done is put in my name, and it says Thrill House. And so I call that moment that just kind of that locks you into a movie.
Oh, okay.
Did you have a moment that locked you into this movie? Because I know you kind of went into this little white knuckle because you didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the moment that you're like, oh, this movie is more than I was expecting?
The moment Hannibal Lecter enters screen. Because the whole time she's walking down that hallway by herself, I'm like, come on, someone can go with her. And also, as they're reading why he's a psycho and all the ways he can kill her and be horrible to her, I'm going, girl, don't go. You don't have to go down that hallway. You do not have to do this. So every ounce of my being was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. This is going to be bad. And then the shot of him entering screen and him standing there waiting for her, looking right at her, I was like, oh, now I'm really interested.
Mm-hmm.
He was not at all what I expected.
Yeah. And that's great, too, that, like, even though as much as you knew about this movie, you still were able to be surprised.
Oh, for sure.
Since I don't want to choose the same moment, even though that's probably mine as well, because that is one of the most iconic entrances in film history.
Sure.
I will choose. I don't remember if this scene happened before that or after that, but it's essentially Buffalo Bill's introduction to the film and Catherine Martin's introduction to the film when she's rocking out to that Tom Petty song, and she's just having a great time, and you're like, okay, why are we spending so much time with this character? What's going to happen to her?
Mm-hmm.
And then, you see this guy struggling getting this couch in, and the entire time, me and my wife are like, "Don't do it. Just keep fucking going. Keep going. Go feed your cat. Don't do it." And then she offers to help.
She gets in,
and you hear that voice, Ted Levine's voice. He's got such an interesting voice. Which fun anecdote to that. My wife's like, why do I know that voice? And she is like, quickly starts looking up IMDb. She's like, oh, I know him from Flubber. I'm like, wow, what a very different movie to be connecting to. Flubber. I love that. But yeah, she gets in, and then you have that line.
She's like, just jump in the back and help get the couch or whatever.
And I get why, because she's like, oh, he's injured or whatnot. He's struggling. And from actually I
was like making mental notes to myself as a woman, like, Lynne, this is why you don't do this stuff. Like, like.
Well, and then there's the Milwaukee of it all, because I believe I read that that's something that Ted Bundy used to do.
Sure.
But
also Midwestern nice.
Yep. And then he has that line. It's like, are you a size 14? And you're like, why are you asking that? And then and once again, a very violent scene where you don't actually see much, but the implication of it is probably more unsettling.
Yeah, there's not a ton of gore, is there?
No, like you see blood.
Sure.
And you see the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
And it's
no gratuitous.
Yeah,
gore.
and like this movie even tries to add some beauty to the violence, which is interesting. Like that sequence where Hannibal, like after Hannibal's escaped and they go into where his cell was at, and you have that cop being hung up and the light behind him. It's like, all right, this is actually kind of a beautiful shot, as disturbing as it is to look at.
Right.
And then I kept thinking, it's like, how do you get him up there by himself?
If I had one other like Thrill House moment, but I don't know, because it's not when I got hooked, but I was just like, yeah, the whole ending sequence and that long take. Well, you see him like a shark, like through the crowd.
Following his former doctor,
prey.
and he's just strolling along with his
Yep.
bad hairpiece.
And it's a really long take, and I'm just like, ooh, that is really good.
Yeah.
It's a really good finish. And then, of course, the line of like, I'm having a friend for dinner. It's amazing.
Yes, it's fantastic.
It's really good.
So is there anything else you wanted to talk about with Silence of the Lambs before we wrap up for the night?
No. I am surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Well, if you're ever curious for more, they did make sequels.
Oh, no. No.
The TV show is also really good.
Can't do it.
Fair enough.
I think, once in a decade, I'll watch something that's called, like, horror or, like, thriller. I think, last decade. I don't know which one it would have been. But when I was in my 20s, I watched Psycho. That was enough. And now I've watched Silence of the Lambs, and that's enough until they come out with another Best Picture horror movie. And then maybe I'll have to bring myself to watch that.
Well, Get Out did win Best Screenplay.
Oh, Get Out was great.
That kind of a horror film.
I can suspend that. I don't believe that one because we don't have this technology.
Oh, so if it's less rooted in reality.
It can happen to me right now. Like if Buffalo Bill can take me in the parking lot right now, like I don't want to know about it. Like
That's fair.
I don't want to consider it. But like somebody, borrowing my brain and putting it into a different body, I'm like, okay. Like it's in theory it's frightening, but like
fair enough.
It's not real.
No, that's fair. Well, the last thing I will say, unfortunately don't have the dates in front of me, but for those of you listening, if you live in the Milwaukee area and you have not seen Silence of the Lambs, I do believe, according to what Susan told us, it is playing.
It is.
Very shortly, probably I think this month at the Oriental Theater. So go check it out if you've not had a chance to see Silence of the Lambs. Before we wrap up, Lynn, where can people find information about Ski Team?
Sure.
You promote yourself.
Oh, that's kind. Our website is goskiteam.com. And it's got all the info about our company, the kind of videos we make. You can find me on LinkedIn, Lynne Wisniewski Fraser. I think that's it.
All right, perfect. Well, at this point, everyone listening should know where to find me, but I'll repeat it once again. You can find me on Letterboxd at Virus102008. I am on TikTok doing physical media reviews. I probably talk about aspect ratios more than anyone else on that platform. But you can also find me on Instagram and everywhere else at pretty much Michael_Virus. And you can check us out next time. Shame Place, Shameless Picture Show.
The Shameless Picture Show is a proud member of the Cinepunch Podcast Network. The show is recorded in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and is hosted and produced by Michael Vyers. The show is created by Michael Vyers and Nick Richards. The Shameless Picture Show is edited by Austin Proctor of the Frightmares Podcast. Amanda Vyers is the show's graphic designer and a big help behind the scenes. Our theme music was composed by Austin Proctor with narration by Nick Richards. The end credit music you're currently enjoying was generously provided to us by the band 10 Speed. And an extra special thank you to all our Patreon supporters and to our generous sponsors. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, and directly at Cinepunch.com.